Defense lawyers in the Joshlin Smith kidnapping trial will continue to probe the conduct of the police in obtaining confession statements from two of the accused. The lawyers have questioned the admissibility of Stefano van Rijn and Joaquin Apollos' submissions, which implicate the girl's mother in her mysterious disappearance. The pair claims that they've given their statements under duress. Let's now get more details on that from our reporter Nasiphi, who's joining us live from Saldanha Bay. A very good morning to you, Nasiphi. One of the issues now is also this rush against time because Judge Erasmus wants to get this trial within the trial finished off before the end of the week.
That's indeed true, Aldrin. You'll remember that this trial within a trial impacts the main trial that was parked about 2 weeks ago to allow for the defense and the state to argue the admissibility of these statements that were taken last year, March, from Joaquin Apollos and Stefano van Rijn, who have leveled very serious allegations against police officers that they were not only coerced, but physically tortured into admitting that they had a hand into the involvement of Joshlin Smith, who more than a year later remains missing. And this is what Judge Nathan Erasmus had to say regarding the wrapping up of the trial within a trial yesterday.
We must start thinking about the argument. I've told counsel in chambers, and this is for the public as well, that in a trial within a trial, the court doesn't necessarily give reasons for the finding one way or the other. So we anticipate that I would like us to get to that point ASAP. So by next week we can utilize as much time as possible in the trial.
Yeah. And Nasiphi, you've mentioned this issue of the statements and allegations that the statements were made under duress, but now you also have Stefano van Rijn's lawyer who's arguing that what was in the statement was actually prescribed to him.
Well, we've heard that argument. Initially starting the trial within a trial, the lawyer of Stefano van Rijn, on many occasions highlighted when the statements were going to be introduced to court that the statement taken of van Rijn, by law, she put it, is not an admission of guilt nor amounted to a confession, and put it to Sergeant David Fontaine yesterday, who took the statement of van Rijn that that particular statement was prescribed to van Rijn to communicate to Detective Sergeant Fontaine what to say. And she is arguing that that is not the words of her client. And under cross-examination, this is what Detective Sergeant David Fontaine had to say in response to that argument by Nobahla Mkabayi.
As hy so voorgesê was deur polisiebeamptes,
my lord, in case he was prescribed by the police as such, my lord,
terwyl ek nie daar was nie,
whilst I was not there, my lord,
moes hy dan dit vir my vertel het die edele,
he should have informed me about it, my lord.
en hy het nooit vir my gesê,
He never told me, my lord.
so dit is moontlik
Therefore, it is possible
dat dit kon gesê gewees het,
that it was said, that was said,
maar baie unlikely edele.
toch heel onwaarschijnlijk, my lord.
So yesterday, we also again, the lawyer of van Rijn rehashed the torture that her client suffered at the hands of police, allegedly at the Sea Border Police, where all of this, she says, took place, including Jacobs Bay, where he was given a lift from the Vredenburg Magistrate Court and ultimately taken there first to allegedly being tortured at the hands of police. She described how a female police officer struck van Rijn at the Sea Border officers in the head to a point where he felt dizzy felt dizzy and nearly peed himself, and that was when he had asked police officers to accompany him to the police station. And it was during this time of those intense interviewing processes by police to Van Ryn regarding the disappearance of Joshlin and his alleged hand into her disappearance. But with that being said, Nobahle Mkabayi then, kind of veered off and highlighted also that it was not just physical torture that her client suffered, but also emotional abuse, or taunting rather, from police officers who had said to him that they were going to go lay flowers at his mother's grave, as they know that he had not been in attendance at his mother's funeral. And Nobahle Mkabayi yesterday relaying that actually broke his client's heart. And at some point we saw Stefano Van Ryn during that argument, that particular argument, about how he felt about his mother's passing and him not being present, bowing his head and basically covering his face during proceedings. However, today we can expect the cross-examination of Detective Sergeant David Fortuin to continue, and also the cross-examination by Detective Captain Philip Seakoy.